Good evening, I'm Brendan Miller. Thanks for joining us. The Thunder Bay District's Children Aid Society hosted an open house and recruitment session this past week for potential alternative caregivers to learn more about how it all works. Information was being shared by CAS staff and some current caregivers about the respite care, along with full or part-time alternative care, formerly known as foster care. These open houses are held to address the current needs of children and youth in our community. Director of Services Dana Leader says the organization is prioritizing a live-in model, offering potential caregivers rent and grocery subsidies and additional accommodations to support their role.
Our agency is trying to evolve and ensure that we're meeting some of those newer needs that have come forward. So, for example, looking for people willing to open their home for some of our older youth and our teens to provide that mentorship and a safe place for them to come to. So I think also there's the older view of what fostering looked like, and so it's very different. And these open houses provide an opportunity to answer some of those questions, because people might be curious and think that it's something they have to do full time when that's not the case.
We have training, support. Families are connected with a resource worker who will check in with them and provide supports that are needed. There are some financial supports that come along with that. And as I previously mentioned, the training that comes along with it that's needed or supports. We do have the spring team, which is an eclectic group of individuals here at the organization that have a great wealth of experience and knowledge.
The team urges those seeking additional info to call the Children's Aid Society and stay tuned on their social media pages for future events like this one. Vickers Heights Community Center held their annual Lumberjack Jamboree. The family-friendly event was free for all ages to join and participate in lumberjack-themed activities. Emma Chilton has more.
The Lumberjack Jamboree started with a donation pancake breakfast that filled the community center with residents, which preceded games and activities. The forestry-themed event aimed to encourage and educate our community to support and possibly work in the forest industry. Board member of Vickers Heights Community Center, Linda Ridholm, says that this industry is vital for our communities.
So forestry's been important forever. It's still important, and especially in Northern Ontario. Those jobs are important and very vital to our well-being for our communities. And this afternoon, the children will be learning a bit about working with logs and what they do with them, whether they're rolling them or cutting them, stacking them. It's just a fun community activity to kind of remember the past, but also remember how important the forest is to all of us in many ways.
Families are seen enjoying the activities, competing in races, and being lumberjacks and lumberjills. The Lakehead University Timberwolves are a forestry-based club and volunteer to host the lumberjack-inspired games. Timberwolves Lily and Carissa say that the event turned out great and were happy to volunteer.
Lots of people have come out. It's a great turnout. It's both our first years doing it, so we had no idea what to expect, and it has been nothing short of amazing. We've had lots of different ages come, from probably around 2 to, I'm going to say, parents, so 20, 30, and it's been great. There's a bunch of different games. We've had cookie bowling, snowshoe relay, obstacle courses,
sweet saw.
There's a bunch of fun stuff, so it's been really fun.
Yeah, it's been great.
Emma Chilton, TBT News.
Feedback provided by local people experiencing homelessness during the coldest time of the year say many are struggling to deal with the frigid winter temperatures. As temperatures have plummeted in recent weeks, daytime warming centers are struggling with overwhelming demand from the city's homeless population. Scotland Morrison, head staff of Urban Abbey, says the main feedback he's received from people experiencing homelessness is they don't know where to go during the daytime to escape the bitter cold, when all other centers are at maximum capacity.
They don't know where they will go during the day. They also experience a lack of transportation options, particularly on the weekends, and they do utilize the library, McDonald's I hear often. There does need to be overall, at some point, an increase in, again, day programming spaces, particularly during like the coldest months. And there are amazing organizations already operating in Thunder Bay, but they're at like capacity right now, so they need help too. So.
A home on the north side of the city has been vandalized with spray paint, revealing a disheartening message. Arshdeep Singh, the resident of the vandalized home, says that he's disappointed in the situation and that he only wishes to support the community just like every other Canadian.
We saw it on yesterday when we were going to work, and we saw that and we were very disappointed and hurt by seeing that. We are a bunch of friends that are living here. So we have been living in this house for almost 2 years. It's a very nice neighborhood, very decent people, but seeing these kind of stuff feel us that we do not belong here, and that's pretty hurtful. And we didn't expect that because we all left our home, our families, and come here to build our life in Canada. That's our goal is. And to see things happen like that to us, that people are not accepting us, and this is really hurtful.
Singh says that we should be supporting one another and treating each other like human beings despite someone's race. More than 50 years after Thunder Bay became one city, an odd remnant from the past can still be found. The former cities of Port Arthur and Fort William both had a Lincoln Street. And while all other duplicated names have been changed since, Thunder Bay still has 2 Lincoln Streets. Jonathan Wilson has the story.
The Lincoln Street in the former Port Arthur is located between Algoma Street and the rear of the casino and has a handful of properties on it. The one on the south side, in the former city of Fort William, intersects with Vickers Street and only has one property on it, McIver Court. It's now been 55 years since amalgamation, and both of those street names remain unchanged.
The Lincoln Street that comes off of Vickers Street on the south side of the city was named after a relative of the person that owned the plot of land that became the subdivision. And on the north side, we're not sure exactly where the source of the name came from, but it was in the original plan for Prince Arthur's Landing.
City Archivist Christina Wakefield says documentation shows there was an effort to change the name of the Southside Lincoln Street a couple of times in the early 1970s, with the name suggested being Lamont Street and Liverpool Street.
There was a letter of protest at one point that they didn't want to change the name of Lincoln Street that was in the south end. And so it just sort of appears that the street dropped off the list after that and never got changed.
Unfortunately, the archives don't have the actual letter of protest, and Wakefield assumes it was thrown out at the time. She notes Thunder Bay also has a number of non-identical but similar street names, including Dawson Road and Dawson Street, Gordon Street and Gordon Avenue, and Ray Boulevard and Ray Court. Wakefield adds that she's unsure why the city never changed one of the Lincoln Streets.
There isn't a lot of the background documentation. We just have sort of what came to City Council. Not a lot of that got saved, so we're not really sure what sort of background discussions happened around that street.
Local fire rescue officials say with any 911 calls to one of the Lincoln Streets, they always include an address number to ensure that first responders never go to the wrong Lincoln Street. Jonathan Wilson, TBT News.
Talk of tariffs has stirred up anxiety at businesses across Canada, and some brace or scramble to lessen the blow, all while there are so many unknowns. CTV's Sarah Plowman has the story.
Building machines is a complex puzzle of thousands of steps and parts. What's puzzling factory floors these days is what will President Trump send down the assembly line.
If he's putting 25% on tariffs on our machines, they will increase the price.
These machines are used to make windows and shipped throughout Canada and the U.S.
Cylinders.
Lots of its pieces are imported from the States. If a Trump tariff is met by a Canadian counterpunch, these machines will face a double dose of tariffs.
That's not good. No, it will hurt. Yes, absolutely. We are prepared.
Right now, business owners are bracing.
It's very stressful. It's very, very stressful to know that tariffs might be going up 25%. It's a huge number.
As soon as Trump said tariff, entrepreneurs were searching how to swap American ingredients for Canadian ones to make their beard grooming products.
If these tariffs go through, unfortunately, we would have to cut ties with our relationships and our partners that we have in the United States. It just, from a financial point of view, it wouldn't make sense.
Not an easy move, but a necessary one.
We have to do what we have to do to maintain our cost of goods so that we can continue to supply a product that is a reasonable price and maintain the quality of our ingredients.
This is Lori Tanita.
So this is the front shoe, this is the hind shoe.
He sells horseshoes and tools across the prairies, mostly imported products from the U.S.
There's no other manufacturer in North America that makes this stuff. That's the thing, there's nowhere else to go.
A major hurdle businesses are facing right now is the X factor. How do they navigate through so much uncertainty? Sarah Plowman, CTV News, Fredericton.